Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining another episode of BAM.
Bam.
Let me hear it. BAM.
Bam.
You didn't even say it.
Bam.
I know, I was
BAM.
busy.
Okay, Brokeassmillionaires, hosted by Lotfulrealty. Thank you very much. Today we have a special guest on episode number 11. We got Zachary Nelson. For those of that you don't know him, he's a good friend. Depends if you love him or not. Yeah, exactly. Zach is a fellow real estate agent, a former senior vice president at Unreserved, and a former cast member at Big Brother, Small Brother, whatever, something like that.
Season 11, by the way.
Season 11
Episode
as well.
11.
Oh,
Season
wow.
11.
What episode did you make it to?
Episode 11.
Okay.
I swear to God.
Wow.
11.
11. Somebody make a wish.
That's crazy.
Make a
How many
wish.
episodes in a season is that?
Like 15.
I actually don't follow, so I actually don't even know what
So I,
the show
so I can
is.
tell you I won and you'd believe it. I actually would. It was great, man. I'll show you the trophy after.
Like, look, when you look at his hair, you're like, oh, wow, this guy.
Natural born
For
winner.
sure.
I see
He's
it.
a
I
winner.
see it. I see
You
it, bro.
see
Don't
it.
For
worry about it.
sure. For sure. Like, he won like 3 seasons in
Thank
a row.
God he's here, man. Now Omar can leave me alone about my hair. And
Look, you both have the same hair.
You have
his
fantastic
is
hair.
nicer than mine, though. Actually,
but
his
you
is what
have,
I'm
like,
aspiring to
no,
become.
You have like
I'm
a
working towards
raccoon that's gelled
Oh.
on your head.
Wow.
And he's got just like superstar.
Is this fresh today? Did you get it just?
No, this is from
No
last Friday,
way.
man.
See,
I'm
that's-
due for another cut.
That's impressive then.
I'm due
Like,
for
look,
another
this
cut.
is like what Baywatch hair would look like.
Listen, I'm working towards that, man. I
And
just got a
then-
new barber, and the new barber is starting to work
Are
it
you
in.
sure you want to say that on the air?
Yeah, I
Because
don't
the
know.
old barber's going to find where you are.
Well, they're gonna know, and they don't see me at the barber shop once every week and a
Yo,
half.
look at his hair.
The hard part about a new barber when you have long hair, they have to have long hair.
Yeah.
I don't let people with short hair cut my hair anymore.
Really?
Yeah, they don't get it.
Yeah.
They don't
Okay.
appreciate the effort that
Interesting.
is required and the time.
So you
that
won't
is
let
required.
me. You won't let me cut your hair.
I would let you do anything.
Why not?
Except selling my house.
bold
Yeah, exactly. He's a realtor, but
Yeah.
I'll still sell him a house.
Oh yeah, I would pay you no matter what.
Thank
Rather
you.
than me, it's you. No question about it. No
This
question
is why
about
we're
that.
friends.
He's
This is
gonna
why-
do his own deal and still pay
And
you.
then still
Yeah, 100%.
That's what I want from you.
Isn't that how you started?
No, I do that with Rabieh.
Oh, do you? No, seriously. No, I appreciate your hair.
Thanks.
Yeah, I really.
You're a fucking
I don't-
liar, bro.
You.
But see how straight my face was?
I was gonna
I did this face.
Yeah, but you only showed them half your face. The other half was
I know.
laughing, bro.
I know, but it's I'm like two-faced, right? Like one side's like
Have you ever grown yours out?
my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. When I got married, for some reason,
Yo, his Gmail picture.
Yeah, haven't you seen his
Oh,
picture on his
no.
Gmail? No. He's got
For
one of
sure.
those like comb overs
Yeah.
with the slit on the side. Yeah, he's one of those, man. He's one of those.
that was only like the 2015 to 2017 era.
When'd you meet Tina?
2012, but we got married 2015, so I had to abide by the rules of
okay.
engagement.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
And then there's a particular look for the wedding, and I had to abide by those rules and regulations. Once the wedding was over, I maintained the same look,
yeah.
and then I got rid of it. But actually, she told me to get rid of it. You know,
You should grow it back just in spite of
Yeah, I
it.
would like to see it.
I think so.
but it's a lot of work.
What do
man.
our viewers think? Tell me about it. It's a lot of
I
work.
saw a picture
Leave
of
a
Omar
comment.
too with like a shaggier beard too.
No
Mine,
way.
yeah, I had, yeah,
Yeah.
because we started, we didn't hitchhike, but
I'm
we
gonna have
we
to put you on
backpacked.
blast right
wow.
now. I might have to put
Yeah.
you on
What
blast.
did you see?
Hold
Oh,
on,
me and
I got
her
a video that
backpacking,
you'll
'cause we
never even know
backpacked.
that I have, bro.
What you have? We got on me.
I got some.
You got nothing on me. No.
Oh
Oh,
my god.
wow. Wow, that's our old condo.
I'm gonna edit this into the.
That's
Oh,
Canada
look
Day.
at that.
Send that to
Twerk.
Jawad.
You were twerking before twerking was
I-
cool, man.
But I invented twerking.
You might have
That-
invented the twerk.
I could do.
Yo, I
could-
got it, bro. Don't even worry
Oh
about it.
wow!
Wow.
What you should be worried about is how did he get that, and
Yeah.
what
Fair.
more does he have in the
For
arsenal
sure,
that he
I
hasn't
know
shown
who
you
that
yet?
is. I know it's Alex Jodoin Mortgages. I know that's what it is. It is. I know. This guy got like a picture or a video on everybody.
Great
He's-
mortgage broker,
he's
by the way.
He's the Epstein of mortgage brokers.
Oh.
Actually, I'm glad that's
He's
on
black-
cameras because then Alex knows that I didn't snitch on him.
No.
like
Oh,
Omar
yeah.
guessed it.
Yes.
Snitches
Yeah.
end
Yeah.
up in ditches. That's it.
I'm glad-
That's it.
They get stitches, is what it is.
I don't know.
That was the
man.
one I was
Yeah,
expecting.
me too,
But
me too.
But yeah, I
Omar's a
try to
little
be
more
cool,
hood than the
yeah.
rest of us.
Yeah.
Right into the ditches.
I grew up in
Right.
Toronto, so like I'm totally
Skip the
cool.
stitches right into the ditches. eh?
Speaking of Toronto, I hear you got a pretty decent fan base in Woodbridge. Did you know that?
I did not know
Oh
that.
yeah. We have some connects. Hashtag Oraz. And her whole crew, I know Mike and I know a bunch of other people there in Woodbridge. They're all rooting for you, man.
Shout out Woodbridge.
Woodbridge.
What up, Woodbridge?
He's a man of the people.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do a signing there. Okay, I'm coming.
Do you have a book? Do you have a book coming out?
Very soon.
You should write one just so you can sign your name in it.
Yeah.
We'll do a signing.
Wait till you
Lucky
join
number
Lawful.
11.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, what's Zach's book is gonna be like? This is me, Zach. Picture. The
Oh, it's a
end.
picture book. It's a picture book. It's just different hairstyles throughout the years.
You
What
should
do
just do a calendar, actually. Is what you should
That's
do.
a
I think
great
that would be the
idea.
best thing to do.
Would you
That's a
buy it? You'd buy it.
fantastic
I would buy it for sure.
How many though would you buy? Yeah, we can't just have you buy
I'd
one.
buy
entire
one for me,
database.
one for Elliott, one for Omar.
Why
All
would
right.
you buy one for me? I got the real thing.
Just for you to have it at home.
Those
For when you
two.
wake up in the morning, you could look at them
Oh wow.
before you go to bed at night.
Yeah.
Nothing beats that. Nothing.
Really. Okay, so today we wanted to talk a little bit about your former experience at Unreserved. The reason why I want to talk about that is I thought it would be cool to discuss an opportunity of disruption of the marketplace, of the real estate market. We know that the founder of Unreserved is a serial entrepreneur. He was able to raise tons of money. He did a fantastic job with I think it's called eBlock.
E-block, yeah.
So it's cool because he had a novel idea of trying to, correct me if I'm wrong, trying to open up and be transparent about the real estate transaction. I know that there was some pushback from government and from the industry in general. What was some of your experience there? And then now that you're out of it, how do you feel about the overall industry as a regular realtor now? Just a regular Joe Schmo kind of thing.
All right, let's highlight the fact that I'm out of it.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah. Okay,
because
yeah.
you know, I know I'm kidding.
get
obviously.
hate mail
I still
still?
get hate. Still get hate. We go out for dinner and people are still coming up to me, realtors, being like, "I disagree with this and this." I'm like, "Man, I've been out of that for almost a year." So
I don't even care no more.
So what's your
Yeah.
timeline? You worked there when?
That's a really good. I don't remember the exact start date, but what had happened was I had come back to Ottawa. I was running a luxury auction company I was running a luxury real estate auction company in Vancouver.
Oh.
And so I'd come home for Christmas and a friend of mine had said, "Hey, there's this Ryan guy who's interested in starting up a company similar to what you're doing out in BC. So would you be interested in meeting with him?" And my goal had always been to come back to Ottawa. And then the pandemic happened and sort of forced my hand. I didn't really want to stay out there. We had about $14 million worth of real estate that we were going to auction off. And we were about to sign paperwork. And at the last second, the founder of the company at the time, he's just like, "Man,
This
I
is
don't
the
want to take the
BC?
risk." The BC one,
Yeah.
sorry. He's like, "I don't want to take the risk. It's too risky to put it up on auction," because we were charging 10% premiums. These were luxury real estate, like homes that had sat on the market for months, some of them years.
Oh,
right?
wow.
In Vancouver, these are like, the average home in the luxury space is $7 million, right?
Wow.
So like these aren't cheap by any means. But we were
That's
spending
how much he spends on gel.
Yeah. Just in a month alone.
That just
yeah. So long story short, we were spending like $150,000 in marketing and advertising and sales, and I was sort of handling a little bit of everything for them. And so when I was approached by Ryan, what I loved about his concept was he wanted to bring that to the masses. The idea was that transparency would help people build confidence in the industry, and therefore they would be willing to spend more money.
Because at that point, like obviously the market's kind of hot in Toronto, Vancouver, Ottawa was getting hotter, Montreal was getting hot, and the pandemic starts to hit. Things just fucking went crazy.
I mean, even realtors like Omar became successful during the
Oh,
pandemic,
wow.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah, like you
We-
guys,
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
We've been. We've been.
like you guys have
He's
obviously
getting all defensive and shit.
Well, this is my show. It's my show. It's my show.
obviously I'm playing around. No, like I
Guys,
think,
share the show.
Yeah.
Share the show.
Guy thinks he's the star. It's crazy.
He just likes to fucking yell and hear
Yo,
himself
when you're
talk.
the
Yeah,
sun,
like-
you are the biggest star. You all.
So the timing was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect for the idea. And the idea I thought was great. And I still think the idea behind auctions is a good idea. When you can give transparency to people, especially in a hot market, it gives them the ability to pick a number that they're comfortable bidding to. And once it hits that number, they have a decision to make whether they want to keep going or not. And they're not doing it blindly.
Yeah.
So I thought that the concept to the masses was a really great concept. And early on, that was the focus. I think the issues that we ended up running into early on were that to get market share, we bought 20 homes. And so I remember sitting there and we're mapping out which homes we're going to auction off and which ones we're going to go first and which ones we're going to finish with. And that first home was a beautiful home, beautiful townhome in Stittsville. Like it was amazing. And we had bought a furniture company, which was probably not necessary, but we bought a furniture company. So we were staging the home and we were selling all of the furniture along with the house. Yeah. And
big marketing splash, let's go kind of thing. Yeah.
We had maybe, 2 or 3 conversations before that about like, should we include a buyer agent percentage on the purchase? Like, do we need buyer agents? And we were like, you know what? Let's try it out without having a buyer agent. And that one decision
started having hate,
created a snowball that was very difficult to slow down. So then 2-3 days in, we're like, okay, you know what? We got to have we have to pay out the buyer agent. So we add this, but immediately now people are like, well, you guys weren't planning to pay buyer agents off the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
And rightfully so. I could see why people were frustrated. And instead of sort of like, I guess, taking that on the chin, we sort of leaned into it a little bit too much and started to say, well, you know what? Like, if you guys don't want to work with us, we don't want to work with you and we don't need you type thing, right? And that was where things
really
the hostility
started forming up.
Immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because the company itself is coming out to say, hey, I'm here to disrupt what the typical industry is. And like, we're a boutique brokerage and we're always thinking, hey, how do we innovate? How do we become better? But to admit it, we are working within the industry guidelines. We are working within how the industry is, right? From a structure standpoint. But in terms of service, we're trying to exceed that. But what I like about the initial theory of an Unreserved or any other tech company is that they are a tech company. They're coming out with a solution. But I feel that it was a tech company that became a brokerage. And I think that's where things start to shift in a very odd way. So you had the hate of disruption, and then on top of that, it became a regular Joe Schmo brokerage. So what happened there?
So there's a few pieces to that. One, if you look at eBlock, what made eBlock successful, in my opinion, Ryan's first company, that it was a unicorn. Like, it became $1 billion company. It IPO'd over $1 billion. It was a very successful company, but it was B2B. B2B meaning that he would obviously go to car dealerships and say, hey, instead of having to go to the auction, like the Odessa auctions in Montreal, wherever they were, put everything online. We'll service it. We'll do it for free. It won't cost you anything. You can put everything on our platform. Yeah. And then every dealer can bid on these cars remotely. Yeah. That's B2B. Now, had Ryan went directly B2C and said, hey, we're going to cut out every used car dealership, it would have been a lot harder because he would have had a hard time getting the inventory because they wouldn't have given him the inventory to put on the site.
Yeah, very interesting. So the B2B model worked for eBlock, but when he did Unreserved, it was a B2C model.
We went B2C.
Okay, so B2C versus B2B. B2B means business to business. B2C, business to consumer. Just to clarify what...
Thank you for that.
No problem. By the way, Elliott didn't actually know what that is.
So eBlock actually really revolutionized it. Obviously, you guys know I was in the car industry for 12 years.
Well, with a hair like that.
Yeah,
fair enough.
How would you not get firsthand? And I saw people try to replicate it too, like TradeRev and things like that. And it was huge. It was revolutionary because you could, like you said, just throw it online.
So was there a pushback from the industry at the time for eBlock?
There was a pushback from certain people because certain people's jobs was to take our cars to the auction, and sell them at the Odessa auction. So when the owner saw this opportunity,
it was cutting staff essentially.
It was cutting staff, yeah, basically, or that person was just getting less of a cut because we would take cars to the auction too, and then we would put some cars on eBlock just depending on the situation. Obviously, it was new, so we're still getting a feel for eBlock, how it worked, how to present everything, what worked better on eBlock, what worked better in person.
So what's going on today? Is it still is Odessa auction, what is that, like Russell or Hawkesbury or something? Do they have whatever's online is still also in their showroom?
So I might be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, everything runs through Odessa, even through eBlock and TradeRev. Am I wrong about that?
I don't think you're wrong, but I think they've had to start working with
exactly.
Online. Yeah, exactly.
So now that it's an integrated
so
inventory
it's all integrated,
system.
so everything's kind of run through Odessa, but it's run through eBlock
So
Trader,
eBlock is
whatever
a
the online
platform.
as a platform, but it still runs through the same auction.
So very similar to what the real estate board has
Well,
attempted to do,
don't
right?
we usually don't hug each other on the podcast, by the way. But if you guys are comfortable with
I mean,
that,
he's a handsome guy. What do you want me to do? I didn't even see that I did it.
because nobody's hugging him.
Elliott, come over here, man.
Come over here.
Boy.
So when change comes,
You guys look cute.
You either have to.
Fucking
Can't have a serious conversation.
just like, I'm relaxed.
But just like, look what's happening.
I'm relaxed.
You're the only one
Why you got to give the
Yeah,
guy a
it's
hard time, man?
It's okay, man.
When change
Sorry,
comes, it's
Zachary.
adapt or die, right? And so the adapting in the car industry was much easier because people, yes, there was a bit of pushback from a small minority, but the majority liked the concept and it made their lives easier. So if you look at that from a real estate perspective, I think what happened was, had we been able to go to realtors and say, put your homes on this platform
go.
and we'll take care of X, Y, and Z. All you need to do is give us the information. We got
Yeah.
people in, we can put this in.
Yeah.
Eventually, you guys learn how to do it yourselves.
Self-load. Yeah,
You're
exactly.
using the platform and we just become another option for people to sell homes on. What you're describing, again, I think that was the snowball effect where early on, we got a bad reputation pretty quickly. Ryan is the most brilliant person I've ever worked with in my entire life, but Ryan
after
O'Connor.
me, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Ryan is the second most brilliant person I've ever worked with in my entire life
There we
after
go.
Omar.
Thank Fair enough.
But so
This is a very factual podcast.
Omar needs to be pet sometimes.
Yeah.
Your arm behind me really
Like,
fucked him
yeah.
up. Like it really fucked him up.
it's so
right
funny
now.
because I came in here, I'm like, this is very serious. Like these
not.
guys don't have fun. Like
We
the
have-
one guy was
Have you
yelling
not
at you.
watched the fucking
I have,
podcast,
but the clips are always very intelligent. And now I'm realizing the edited, edited versions. These guys, I'm playing. You guys are incredible. What you do back behind the camera.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what I was saying. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We do that,
That
often.
happens a lot.
So Ryan's the second most important person.
The most intelligent.
smartest.
Right. But what, our greatest strengths in life are our greatest weaknesses, right? And like what Ryan is incredible at is he doesn't give up. And like if you fight Ryan on something, he will find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
And in an industry like cars, he knew cars inside and out. Like you weren't gonna. He knew the answers. He knew what every car was worth. I remember even when we started.
Oh, so he knew that industry. Is that he
Inside and out.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Inside
born in
and
that
out.
world.
Oh,
Okay,
my
okay.
Well,
God.
did he not have a piece of
He
a
owned my
dealership?
car.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
owned my car.
Yeah.
He sold my car
Oh,
for.
my car's still around.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Ryan's incredible. I remember
Okay.
sitting there when we first started Unreserved. It was just me and him in an office one day. We were the only two people at the company at this time. And he's redoing the order of what cars are going to go up for auction for eBlock. He's not even with them anymore. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I just know which cars are going to do that. And I'm like, man, this guy,
Oh, he feels it. He knows it.
he
Yeah.
knows the industry, right?
Yeah.
Homes are a completely different
Yeah.
animal. And
Yeah.
like real estate is it's very traditional. Like it's in some ways it's an old school type of mentality, right? Like people
Yeah.
do things a certain way and they're successful because of it. Like if you fall in line and you do what you're supposed to do, you can be very successful.
But Zach, it's not, because when you're buying a car, it's very different than when you're buying a house. So you're going to live inside, and then,
100%.
like, sleep inside, and then protect your family, and then raise a family. The whole works. Like it's
Yes.
it's not just like a car is a utility,
And it's also
Yeah.
a fraction of the price.
I think that's a bigger
But
I think
also you could change a car every 6 months if you wanted to, or a year.
Right.
And
Well,
somebody
I
will
wouldn't
find it.
advise that, but
Yeah, I know.
Continue.
But like, even if you lose money, it's gonna be $2,000 that you lost, but it's not gonna be like 50,000 or 100,000.
You're 100% right. And I think
I get that all
what
the
you're
time.
saying I think what you're saying is that agents are, because they're the experts in that field, there's a need. And that is the truth. There is a need because you do need to understand what the market value is, what your comfort level is,
Yeah.
what you can actually afford. It's very different in the car industry when you're
take the emotion out of the purchase too.
Yeah,
when,
exactly.
but guys,
when you're purchasing
like,
a
keep
house
in mind
compared
that
to a car.
again, coming back to the utility, a car, if it has leather seats, it could maybe sell for a little bit more. Doesn't matter where the car is. Okay, if the car is in Toronto or in Ontario, Ottawa region, or Outaouais or Quebec, there's marginal differences, but it's more or less the same car. It's got, if based on the kilometers, based on the condition, based on the upgrades, you get a certain dollar amount for it. A house, literally, like look at Rockcliffe and then Vanier. Look at Linden Lee and Vanier. Look at Carlingwood and then Westboro. The prices could be a 2-to-1 ratio, a 3-to-1 ratio. It doesn't. The
difference in that example,
but it could be the same house.
The car is movable though. Like
the car is movable.
The car is not in a fixed location.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So when it comes to real estate, like of course, like location then becomes a huge
But
factor.
how are
in
you
the
gonna know
equation.
that? So you can have all the algorithms that you have.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like it could be in our codes. You know how like we have neighborhood codes in real estate, right? In our codes, we can say that's Westboro. But guess what? It's on Carling, the side of Westboro. It's on the north side of Carling. Yeah. Therefore, it is Westboro. But then you see this house and it's on Carling or on a busy street or like at Churchill behind the Shell.
Well, I think one of the things that maybe you're not missing, but one of the other key components
you can insult me. It's okay.
No, I'll
hit back.
Is you don't hire a buyer agent to buy your car.
Actually, I have seen that before.
Okay, well, not how often does it happen?
It doesn't work. It doesn't happen
and it
often,
doesn't
and
help.
it doesn't help.
I bet
at
you
all,
it
actually.
hurts.
It's
if
more of a
anything.
detriment.
Thank you.
100%.
Why? Okay, yeah.
The point of
You fix that, bro.
if you know why, I'd actually be interested to kind of like, is
my
it like an unwritten rule,
Zachary.
or is it just like that
No,
you're now...
you've just got a buyer coming in, and the salesperson is doing their job trying to sell the client on the vehicle, but the buyer agent isn't looking at all the factors. It's very subjective. My wife.
like put it this way. I was doing luxury real estate auctions in Vancouver.
Yeah.
They banned double ending deals.
Interesting.
Now, why did they ban double ending deals? Because you have too much power in a real estate transaction if you're handling both sides, in their opinion, right? It's a different board. It's a very different. I'm not saying that's
over
here.
there,
Vancouver,
like,
yeah.
Is double lending specifically to the realtor? Like you can be the buyer and the seller, but somebody in your brokerage could.
Could someone else in your brokerage represent? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So this is period or only with the auctions that you can't double?
No.
Period.
This is period. in Vancouver. Period.
BC is kind of
Period.
like that.
And the reason being is it's such a big transaction, like you described. It's not a $40,000 car. This is the swings in real estate. There, $8 million house, and then one next door sold for 12. And you're the one double ending, that's a pretty big swing, right?
So,
and so
I was surprised that Tressa rules did not actually ban multiple.
I'm surprised by that as well.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised, but they came up with a different way of mitigating some of that. So now there's something called a designated representative, and as of January 1st or December 1st, actually, I should say. Now in a brokerage, like our brokerage is a boutique or whatnot, but imagine a brokerage of 100 people. They don't know each other. They're not talking, right? But you have Omar that's in that brokerage that's representing, let's say, Elliott in that sale. Rabieh comes by, and then he's also in the same brokerage. They could actually be in a non-multiple position because that means non-double ending from a brokerage standpoint, because they actually don't know each other and they're not actually talking, and he's just trying to protect his clients and he's trying to protect his client. So in BC, they just said, no multiple representation. Sorry, yeah.
This is the guy we're listening
no double
to right
end.
now?
Yeah, but it's confusing.
You guys got a 5-hour energy or something?
But you just clarified that you could multiple rep. It just couldn't be the same person, right?
No, sorry. If you're saying multiple representation through the brokerage or as one
as an
realtor?
individual,
I know,
as an individual,
you
no.
couldn't do
No.
seller and buyer.
No.
But I guess maybe they don't call it multiple rep if I'm in your brokerage and I'm bringing a buyer to your listing.
I'm not
That's
100%
still
sure.
officially
Yeah.
Ontario.
Like
it
for
is
us,
multiple.
that's multiple rep.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm
Right.
saying-
Yes. In this one, it's an agent himself can't double end.
Okay.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
describing. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas so now you're still allowed to multiple rep in Ontario, but you could get away with that by saying that I'm a designated representative, and then somebody else in the.
So this was one of the main items that I thought was important about the auction platform, and that's the unfortunate thing about where things went. Is we lost track of what was actually important. The transparency was the whole concept of the business. Let's make it open. What ended up happening is we ended up in a race to the bottom, in my opinion, where we started becoming a discounted brokerage, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, we're going to charge this, and then we're going to charge this, and we're going to give this, and we're going to give this. And as it's happening, you're starting to realize that you're creating more animosity in the industry, and you're also losing what was actually important and the reason you started to begin with. And
That's
that
very
goes back to
interesting.
the point I was trying to. Sorry, go ahead.
By not like you said your initial intent was not to pay out buyer buyer agents, right? So you guys must have known that would push away buyer, like some clients that want to work with their realtor,
So-
they don't want to pay, right?
So let me explain. We were giving away like $60,000 worth of furniture. Like we
Yeah.
weren't even sure we were going to make $1 on this
I see.
transaction. We were like,
So they
truly, we had
contract
never auctioned a house. So think about from our
But you're
perspective.
building a name, right? Like you're trying to get the platform.
He needs to
For
show
sure.
there's like 20 auctioned houses that happened, right?
So in our mind, it's like, okay, we're just going to educate people on how this works, and people will come on their own.
I see.
We were trying to mitigate what was going to potentially be a very significant loss. Now, what happened was we opened it up. Enough realtors came to it where they were like, listen, we're gonna do what's best for our client. We'll bring our clients to your, auction no matter what. And it ended up going really, really well.
I see.
Yeah.
But then our big belief at the time was whoever gets the listings wins. It's all about the market, right? So look at Airbnb, for instance. Airbnb, as much as you'll read online, people try and scare you off of the stock or what, like, oh, it's struggling with this, it's struggling with
They
that.
have market share.
They have the market.
Yeah, Verbo is like
Yeah.
nothing compared.
I honestly didn't even know really what
I
Verbo
never
was.
booked- yeah, I
I've
never
never
even
really
booked
looked at
anything.
anything through Verbo ever. Like,
I've never booked a single spot. and
Airbnb
we-
is
yeah.
so strong that even if you're booking from somewhere else and somebody asks, you're like, yeah, I'm Airbnb-ing. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
term.
It's a
Well,
term,
exactly.
yeah.
I think
'Cause they were the first to
a
do
lot
it.
of that has to do with like just being a first mover, right?
100%.
Like you're just there for
Yeah.
something.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And they were disrupting. They went B to C, business
to
to
consumer.
consumer.
Joe
They
Watt's
went
go about boom,
B to C instead of B to B. But there was such a demand and a need. And again, there was no one on the hotel side
Yeah.
that was pushing people to hotels. Sure, travel agents or whatever, but that was for more like you're not calling
Yeah,
a
but
travel agent to
hotels
go to
started
New York.
using like it became a B2B because hotels started using
And
it.
they had to. They had to
Yeah.
adapt or they die. Like everyone has to adapt or die.
like taxi companies are using Uber. So that's what I feel
It's a
like.
great example.
Yeah,
of course.
like taxi
Yeah.
companies are using Uber. Like
Yeah.
Blue Lines, like
Well, because they
or-
have no choice. So.
Yeah, I
Right.
know, but
Yeah.
okay, so there was an opportunity as a real estate agent, as a real estate broker, as a firm owner.
Wait, before you say, is it
Oh.
is it a boutique brokerage?
Boutique.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, as a boutique owner, like we sell garments. I really thought there was an exciting opportunity to leverage the tech associated to the unreserved platform. But it never came to me. And I think the first time I met you, we were at a networking event, right? And at the time, I think that's what that was the first thing I said. I said, "Oh, I would love it if you guys were just a tech company and I could utilize your services." And then the government switched the rules this past few months, and now they're looking for a tech company to actually do that on Realtor.ca.
Well, they had one. They hired one. I believe the tech.
Is it Australian or something?
Yeah, and I don't think it's gone very well. But
Okay.
but again, it's not a small undertaking. And what Unreserved have first to market, right? It was the first one to go
It
to
was,
market
yeah.
and do what
Yeah.
it did. So the advantage was there. The second thing is the CTO, the chief
Technology.
officer. I just want to make sure my voice knows.
Oh, it's it. Oh,
I don't know what he's worried about.
yeah, he's worried about you. Yeah.
I'm kidding. Was brilliant. Like one of the smartest tech people you'll ever meet. And so he was the one who kind
After
of
me.
Yes, exactly. Again, well, he built something that was so incredible for E-Block, and it was like quick. Like I mean, within 6 seconds, a car is selling. It's like bang, bang, bang.
Wow.
It's like, and there's no lag. Like it was incredible.
Yeah.
And so he was the one behind what was being built
Very
for
nice.
Unreserved.
Yeah.
And the whole idea was to be a tech company and was to be a tech platform.
So then what happened?
You get high on your own supply.
Oh, wow.
Like things are going really well, right? And we're growing quickly, and people are calling us and wanting to be a part of it. And at the same time, you're starting to fight with realtors, right? And Ryan's a fighter by nature. Like he almost went to the Olympics for boxing.
Oh,
Like the guy's a fighter. Like,
Yeah.
and if you put him in a corner, he's not
Like
going
you
the
push,
other way.
you're gonna get push you back.
He's like, all right, if you guys want to go that direction, we'll go that direction. And I'm loyal to the soil. I didn't think we were making the right decision all the time, but I will never go against. Listen, I believe in hierarchy.
That's how I am with Omar. I never tell him anything. Like, look at us now.
We're doing good, mama.
So behind closed
No, you're
doors,
buttoned all the way up, bro. I would never do that.
Why not? Like I don't even know what you're doing right now. I don't even know what this attire is.
Why are you making fun of my attire?
You see when he gets
Yeah.
He just made fun of my buttons.
I just don't think you need to go all the way up.
Why?
I agree.
I'm auditioning for a priest position.
I think you got to go to the sub penthouse rather than the penthouse with that button.
Is that the thing?
Can you just undo it now since we're on the topic?
Yeah, please. Can you relax?
Can you guys comment? Do you guys
Listen,
like
there's
this
only
or
one
not?
reason to have the top button buttoned up,
Yeah.
and that's if all the rest of them are unbuttoned. Vatos locos for life.
I'll tell you what. If you don't use the word boutique again,
Yeah.
you can keep that last button up. But
I'm surprised you're not wearing a turtleneck. What's going on? Like,
this is
that
my
mock-
halfway neck. This is my
Yeah,
halfway
it's a mock
neck.
neck.
Mock neck.
Yeah, he's mocking me.
I would never mock you, bro. I'm just having a good time.
This is fantastic. No, I appreciate you giving us the lowdown on it.
of course.
I have a question.
Yeah,
Actually.
man.
Uh-oh. Yeah, fuck.
Is he single or not? Is that what you're gonna ask?
No. We'll
Is he
deal
ready?
with that off camera. But,
Should
what
we have a
was your
refill? by the
guys'
way?
plan for in the event that the market is no longer multiple offers? constantly?
It's a great question. It's a great
Well,
question.
Yo, you don't even know what you're gonna say
That's
right
what
now.
I was thinking the whole time. Listen, you're gonna try and come in and disrupt the market. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a hot market.
But I just didn't see what the plot was once that no longer is the case, right?
like in a buyer's market versus a seller's
Yeah.
market, like how does the business function?
Yeah.
So the
So-
difference between a buyer's market
why are you telling me as if I'm... Look at the camera. The camera's who we got.
So actually,
know,
we can define. That's actually a good point.
Yeah,
so
you're
let's
welcome.
define
I gotta
what a
run
buyer's
this
market-
podcast, man.
This
This
guy's
podcast
is
is
not shit about me. That's all it is. I don't know why I'm everyone's target all the time.
you know why?
Because you're right beside me.
Yeah, I know.
Really, it's okay.
I don't think so. I don't think you know what jealousy looks like. All right. So a buyer's market is when a buyer officially has time to look at the property, circle around, and come right back and the property is still available. When it's a seller's market, you don't have that much time to make a decision. So mathematically speaking, if it takes about 2, 3, 4, 5 months to sell a property, it could technically still be a seller's market. Above 6, we call that a buyer's market officially. But recently, properties have been selling about 3-4 months, and I would say that's still a buyer's market just because of a delaying effect. We could talk about that in a different episode, but that's
That might
Oh,
have been
thank
the
you for that
most-
explanation,
That might
Omar.
have been the most clear, like
I was
like
impressed.
explanation.
Yeah, I'm actually very
Because
impressed.
usually he's throwing in numbers from here,
Yeah.
numbers from
Percentage,
there, you get
this
lost
and
in the
fraction.
sauce.
I would have just said supply and demand, but hey, we're all different. We're all different.
done. Yeah.
No, so
No.
to go back to the question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes,
just
but to
finish
go
off
back
that?
to the question, let me give you a little bit behind the curtain before I answer the question. It's a little bit of a story to it. Sorry for you rolling your eyes on me. You don't want to hear that.
I'm used to dealing with Omar, bro. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah,
what was really
somebody's talking more than me.
what was really
At least it's interesting.
what was really interesting is with any startup, the big thing is you're there's a book, I forget what it's called it's like the startup something, but basically you have two problems, right? Is you either have, let's say Uber as an example, you have so many drivers, but you don't have enough users, or you have so many users and you don't have enough drivers. Okay. And so you're constantly trying to make sure that you're balancing those two things. So if you
Supply
read
and
into
demand.
yeah, so if you read into Uber, there's cities where they were like begging cabs or what to be like, we need drivers. We have too many people that want to use the app.
Yeah.
And we're not convenient right now because there's not enough drivers. So whatever we have to do, they were losing millions of dollars and
To just get market share.
to get market share.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, we had so many problems that we were trying to combat at the same time, right? So you're in the market and you're dealing with the board. So the board is now pushing back on us pretty heavily, right? And of course, they're protecting the agents that.
Well, no,
you know, are part of them.
they're protecting the consumer. Or sorry, you talk about the Ottawa Real Estate Board or RICO?
I think that's protecting
very
the consumer. Protecting the consumer is a very nice way of saying, like it's like Uber. Were they protecting the consumer by delaying Uber?
No, they were protecting the industry.
Okay, so they're protecting
But
the
that
industry.
was an industry lobbyist that was doing
It's
that.
the same thing.
No, but RICO is the essentially the body that controls
All right.
and manages.
Glad he's not looking at me when he's giving that explanation, making me look like I'm.
Do you know what it stands for? Watch, the registrar is gonna be like, yeah, Rabieh.
I gotta
So
stop you just for a second.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
You don't honestly think. Look at the smirk on this guy. You don't honestly think that the whole like protecting the consumer was the reason that this whole thing took place.
Okay.
All right.
Let's unravel. Unravel.
Yeah, please.
All right. So at the time,
Cameron, can you go in on this?
I can honestly say it
I
might
wanna
have been
see
a
the
little
smirk.
bit of both, but I think that
Man, look at Uber. It's still not allowed in Montreal.
Yeah.
What is wrong with Uber? Nothing. It's the mob. No, like I'm not trying to get in trouble.
No,
but
you're
like it's
done.
owned by
Taxi mob.
that's the
Yeah.
taxi mob. It will never be allowed there. It's just not going to happen. Real estate it's been run the same way for a very long time. And we talked earlier about disruption. There's only a certain level of disruption that's okay without maybe pushing too far. We pushed too far, in my opinion.
I don't think so.
Because we attacked the lifeblood instead of finding a way to work with them in some ways.
Correct. So exactly, you became like no. We keep saying you, but just for clarification,
I haven't been with
he's
the
no
company
longer-
in like a year.
Yeah, since Big Brother.
Since I went on television and
permanently
became a
edit
celebrity,
the-
it's
the
like
words.
these guys are.
You can't work with
It's
them
like
anymore.
at one point I thought we were going to talk about how great I am. Instead, it's just
Oh
like
wait, I have questions from
Unless
the from
Omar's
the
talking about how
audience.
great he is, he's not talking about anything being great. All right.
You cannot be greater than Alexandra the Great.
the
So-
great, the goat.
I'm from Alexandria, so okay. So shout out to Egypt, Alexandria hashtag.
Oh, I thought you were talking Alexandria, like just outside
no,
of
not
Ottawa.
like Hawkesbury and
yeah.
Maxwell.
I was gonna
Maxville.
say I don't know if you are from that area. You don't seem to. Be.
I wouldn't fit in really much. Okay, so Rico and Oreb have two different mandates. Rico comes in RECO, okay, not Rico like an Italian guy. Okay? Rico has a mandate of protecting the consumer and following the act. Okay, that's all they care about. They don't give a shit about how we deal. They don't care if it's a lawyer doing the transaction or if it's a realtor doing
So
the
what were they
transaction.
protecting them from?
At the time, the laws in place did not say that you could share any value, any aspect whatsoever of the offer.
Well, what did the law say?
The law said that unless the seller agrees to disclose something, it cannot be disclosed.
What was the
unless
exception to that?
Auctions.
Okay.
And farms.
Okay.
But
So-
but Unreserved was using the farm exception.
No.
Oh.
It wasn't.
It wasn't for regular real estate.
Yes, it was. Yes,
No,
it was. Yes, it was. You're wrong.
Well, can we have the registrar comment?
You're not correct. It was most commonly used in rural transactions. You're 100%
Yes.
right.
Okay.
I was doing auctions in Vancouver. So to say that it's not the first company that was doing auctions
Correct.
for real estate. Okay, so let me start. Let me just
Yeah,
get my
clarify there.
rebuttal in. So auctions had been done before. This was the first company.
I feel like it's probably Evan Trudeau like talking, right?
Well, no,
let him, man.
this is the first company that had $34 million, like the biggest seed round in Canadian tech history, behind
Which
it.
is quite
And-
impressive. Like,
and
that
so
was,
what happened was it came out of the gate. So there's other companies that do real estate auctions. I forget. I think it's
in Ontario, there's a couple. Yeah.
yes.
But they do farms and
they don't just do farms. You're
yeah,
wrong.
and cattle.
That's not true. I don't know. Like, what are you talking about?
Like,
You think
how much did you pay for this?
Maybe
move?
in your hometown of Alexandria, Ontario,
Yeah, we
that's what
have-
there's. But no, that's not the case. I think I forget what the company's called. It's too bad, but it's like something next door or
Whatever.
something like that. And it was
Yeah.
an auction company. What happened is this came fast. And it came in a flurry. It was 20 homes in Ottawa that we had.
Fucking guy.
Yeah. Pause.
Oh.
Pause. Well, you said it without
was
saying
that
it.
hilarious to you?
I was hoping I wouldn't have one of those.
That's all. That's why I started laughing.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So
We
this
came out of
fast.
the gate very quickly.
Yeah.
And we did, I think, disrupt Ottawa's market. And you could tell, like, you have to understand, there's real estate groups and we're seeing what's being written in these real estate groups about like, oh, I know this guy who works there. I know this guy. Like, we're feeling very much like we're on an island just as much as you guys are. And you have to understand, like, as much as I always get this comment from realtors of like, well, you were trying to take our dinner. You're trying to take our life
Yeah.
away from us. It's like, well, we're also trying to build
Eat
ours.
yourself.
Like, we have to find a way to coexist. And
Yeah.
the coexist is the word where I think we got lost. But to go back to Rico and my
Yeah, so
opinion
Rico
on
and
it,
Oreb is completely different though.
but you still haven't described to me what
But
the
Oreb is
concern
an
was.
association.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we just let him answer Elliott's question and not get into all the nitty-gritty
know what I'm
of it all?
saying?
Because
No,
we're
no,
completely
because
missing the point, and we're going to run out of time.
It's too bad, because I don't remember what the point was. The question was.
What are you gonna do when it shifts?
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the buyer side.
What was the plan, knowing that it's not always gonna be such a busy market?
It's not always going to be a seller's market. It's going to be a buyer's market eventually.
Yeah. So great. So thank you. Okay. So I'm going to skip the rest because Omar won't let me get there anyway. So
Yeah.
we'll just skip to the answer to that question then. So the way to combat that, I guess, was that we figured that if we had enough homes on the auction block, that there would be a need for some of them to transact. Not every home was going to transact. And so we had an out clause, right? Where we were very transparent with the sellers and saying the market has shifted. Sorry. We were very transparent with sellers and saying the market has shifted. There's a chance that your home doesn't sell by auction. If it doesn't sell by auction, we'll have to flip it to a traditional listing. And if that happens, at least we still, it goes back to the original point, which is whoever has the listings wins. In our mind, it was like, just continue to service people to the best as you can. And we would go above and beyond, right? Like we were, again, it was a growth stock. So if you look at what a growth stock would be and like the key characteristics of it for a tech company, again, we were looking for a tech evaluation. There was a period of time where we had venture capitalists, like firms coming in and basically were like, whatever you guys want. It doesn't matter. You name
Blank
the number,
check.
we are in for X amount of dollars.
That's crazy.
But we were so well funded that it wasn't required, right? So it was like, hey, listen, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We're not, we're not interested in that right now. So it was all market share. So the focus was market share. So whether every home was going to be able to transact by auction or not wasn't what was important. What was important was having the most amount of homes on the platform as possible. Now, again, it goes back to the original point that we talked about. What would have been the best way to get the most amount of homes was to actually involve realtors. So in a buyer's or seller's market, had we focused on that, it wouldn't have mattered as much.
Exactly. I think if you had sold the platform, you would still be a strong organization today.
You say we. I'm not with Unreserved. I haven't been with Unreserved in quite some time. Yeah, so I didn't like the direction. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't agree with the direction and where we were going. There was a time where I sat with Ryan and he expressed to me that he would like for me to go out onto the front lines and sell. And I was very much the face of the business. Like every ad, I was doing everything. Like every new market I would go and I would meet with different brokerages. Like I very much was advocating for this and believing in it. And when we pivoted to become a traditional brokerage, which was for two reasons. One is because they were trying to shut us down. So when you say like, well, why did you become a brokerage? Well, we had no choice. It was basically like one way or another. If you don't become a brokerage and they close this auction exemption, then the whole company
you're done.
Shuts down.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a choice. Like, so when realtors say like, well, you were trying to become one of us, it's like,
but that's fine. Who cares about that? What I mean is that it should have still been a tech company. And then as a secondary option, there's a sister company that was a brokerage. And then,
you and I have talked about this off air, but something like Redfin or Realtor.ca, like we could have been the biggest lead generation platform.
Correct.
Legit.
Absolutely.
In Canada.
But we just talked about that.
It wouldn't even have been close. Like, because we would have been something that just allowed every realtor to use it in a hot market. It would have been incredible.
You paid your fees and then that's it. It was a great marketing opportunity.
There was a massive market there. Sometimes I sit and I think about it. It's like, and let's be honest, we had these discussions. Trust me, there was many of us that were pushing for this to happen. And it was part of the reason I left. It was, we're going to become a traditional brokerage. I want you to go sell traditionally. And I said, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to go do it for myself. Like I'm not going to do it for Unreserved because I don't agree with the mentality that we've pushed and how disruption and transparent, et cetera, to then just pivot and go, okay, now that things have gotten hard, we're going to go just do exactly what everyone else does. We had lost our way. We had lost track of what was important. And for me, all you have is yourself. Like all you have is your word and what you believe in. And so at that time, it was just, I don't believe in the mission anymore. I'd rather walk away.
What a great experience for sure. No, I appreciate you sharing some of that with us.
Please fix that, bro.
Oh my god, again. Okay, so I have some questions from the crowd.
From the crowd.
From the crowd. Okay, so for those of you in Woodbridge, thank you for submitting these questions.
Oh boy.
Okay, so question number one, and I must admit, I don't really know these characters, but do you think Ty deserved to win or was the best or was he the best of the worst? Like, what do you think of that? What does that even mean? Who the hell is Ty? First of all,
Well, if you've never seen the show, it's odd to ask the questions. But
I'm just asking. This is the Woodbridge questions. Okay, this is
so Ty was the person in the house that I was closest with. So I have a lot of respect for what Ty was able to do. He was a competitive beast. Military guy, grew up in a very difficult setting. Like, he grew up at Finch and Weston. Like, he didn't have an easy life. And so what he was able to accomplish on the outside of his life, I think he was able to bring that into the game. And actually, like, honestly, like, I have a lot of respect for what he was able to do, because everyone in the house was going for him. The second I left, it was Ty versus everybody, and he didn't even know. He just had to compete. So I think Ty 100% deserved to win. And whoever wins the game, however it happens, you deserve to win. It's a very difficult game to play.
Like, the next question is actually
wait.
Yeah, go ahead. All right.
What is the game? What is the premise?
Big Brother?
You
I
already
understand
lost.
that it's
Look
some
at you.
sort-
You already lost the
Yeah,
game.
I know, bro. I don't watch the fucking show. I get it. So I'm trying to learn. What is the purpose of?
So the purpose of the game is to be the last one standing. So there's 16 people that enter the house every week. One
Boys
person,
and girls.
boys and girls.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a little bit more to that part, but yeah, there's. I know what you're trying to get me to say. I'm not going there.
I'm not.
Although I would, but so there's
DM's lighting up right now.
so
Death threats the whole world.
every week one person wins a competition and they become the head of the household. They have to put 2 people on the block. Those 2 people then have to basically campaign to be kept in the house.
Okay.
One of them goes home by a vote every single week.
Okay.
So that's how it works. And sometimes
Pretty
there's 2
straightforward.
people, et cetera, but that's how it works.
So you want to be the head of the house as many times as possible?
You do and you don't. Like, if you're too good, then people are like, yo, we got to get him out. Like, he's going to win the
that's not
game
gonna
if
work.
he keeps winning.
Omar's not used to that.
Yeah. So to give you a little context, like, I went into the game. My friend had been on the first season.
Okay.
I hadn't seen the show since he was on. I applied the second season. I was, early 20s, and I didn't apply again until this season. He called me and was like, hey, you should go on Big Brother. Like, they're looking for a character like you.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember. I'm like all right, man.
They're
Yeah,
always looking for an asshole kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. To be honest, yeah.
Like, they didn't have anywhere else.
they
Bring ratings.
For a
Why do you
bill.
think we have him on our show?
Yeah, that's it.
I need some Jack Daniels.
Yeah, can we-
yeah. But there's not enough left.
Yeah, I mean, one second.
Don't worry.
Keep going.
So I forget what I was saying. So I hadn't seen the show in a very long time, right? So I was very much like unaware of kind of how the game worked. But so when I put my video to go on the show, I said to them, my goal is to run the house like a small business. Like, I'm somebody who's well versed in sales and marketing and like in the corporate world, and I want to showcase that skill set.
Yeah.
So I went into the house trying to run it like a small business. Like, I was like, from day one, I was running things. Like, I couldn't help it. It's like, it's my nature to be like, okay, we need to do this. This is how we should do things. And people gravitated towards it. So for the 4 weeks I was on the show, I was by far.
You were him.
Yeah.
You were him.
You were him.
I was by far the most controversial, but yet also most entertaining. Like, when I came out and I talked to a couple of my friends, they're like, man, every episode was about you. It was like, you
so
were
if
the
we
only
get
guy.
asked the
main
viewers,
character.
can we ask the viewers to comment about how you felt about that? If you ever watch that show, I would love
Please
to
do.
see.
Like,
I would love to see what you guys actually thought about that. Was he the most entertaining or the most controversial, or
A little bit
or
of maybe
both.
both.
Or both.
Yeah. Okay, so the second question, which was a follow up to it, was how hurt were you when Ty didn't actually follow you out when he said he would? So did Ty actually say, "Yo, I'm gonna leave with you," and then
So
he backstabbed you in the face?
No, he didn't backstab me at all. It's a complicated situation.
Ty, where are you, man? Yo, we're
Yeah.
gonna find you.
It's a complicated situation. First of all,
Is that true, or is that just what the public saw?
it's true, but I there's conversations that go on that they don't see, right? Where I'm
Yeah.
like, man, if you want to stay, feel free to stay. So
Okay.
it wasn't like I was like, blindsided that he didn't leave. Like, I had feelings that he wasn't interested in going, and I can understand why. He had his own
Click.
situation. He had
Yeah.
his own game to play. But he's, the interesting thing about what happened with Ty is, like, after the show, they were like, don't associate with Zach. They told-
Why? What the hell?
Who was saying that?
The producers.
production.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I was blacklisted. Like everybody else got exit interviews. I don't get
Wow.
everyone got invited
Why?
back to the show.
What
I
the hell
didn't
did
get
you
invited.
do?
What did you do that was that bad?
So
Who'd you piss off, man?
so what happened
Might
was
not be okay to air.
No, I honestly
Are
don't
we
care
like-
because
yeah.
you know if I would have went on this show in my early 20s, it would have broke me. It would have broke me. I wouldn't be able to sit here today. I'd still be hiding. Like I wouldn't have been able to recover. Like I came off the show, I must have had 2,000, 3,000 death threats. Like people telling me
really,
like,
eh?
well, yeah, like
Crazy.
like
Yo, that's nuts.
my mom had to go to therapy. Like things were pretty
Wow.
significant. Yeah,
Wow.
like
Damn.
things were
That's
significant.
crazy, man.
And I came out of the show and production is basically like, you're dead to us. Like we won't help you. We won't do anything. We won't like you're
what the
you're
hell's
gone.
going on?
And-
Wow.
And everybody is telling me, Zach, if you ever want to get back on TV, if you ever want that, you need to apologize. You need to. And I'm like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. Like,
Yeah.
Why would I apologize?
It made you look
for
like the
what?
villain, right?
and they're like, you need to do this. You need to do this. And if I was a kid, I would have been like, yeah, okay, I'll just do whatever you guys tell me to do because I don't want people to hate. But I've done enough work on myself, like growth, to be like, man, I am who I am. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't disrespect anybody.
Yo,
I
this-
didn't
I feel like I
attack
gotta watch
anybody.
this
I
season
gotta
now.
watch
I
this
want to see
shit,
what the
yeah.
fuck happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Can
quite
we sit
interesting.
down, have nachos,
You know, not to go too into it, but like everything we see on mainstream television is driven by a certain narrative.
Yeah.
So
it's already pre-plotted.
pre-plotted, like they took my phone. They're like, "Okay, we're gonna unfollow Pierre Poilievre. We're gonna unfollow the
really?
conservative government. We're gonna unfollow."
Okay.
And I'm sitting there being like, "Well, why would you unfollow all of these accounts that you knew I was following? Like, you've already went through
Yeah.
my social
weird.
media."
Okay.
I hired a marketing girl just before I went in the house. I don't think I've ever said this on anything, but you know,
This
for
a BAM
you
first.
two, for you two.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
fuck
yeah.
Omar. I hired a social media girl to run my accounts before I went on the show, and I couldn't tell her what I was doing because it was against the rule. They're like, you can get kicked off if we find out that anyone knows, etc. But she's pushing me. She's like, Zach, I need to know what you're doing because I had created all this content because I was going to launch my own business when I came out, which was all branding and marketing. It was going to be real estate focused, and I had accounts that were lined up. Like I was ready. I knew what I was doing. And she's like, she's like, I need to know what
This
what
is
the show
nuts.
is. So I'm like, all right, well, here's what it is. I'm going on Big Brother. And instantly, she's a fan. She loves the show. Face drops. She's like, oh no.
Why?
I'm
she
like-
knew the real game.
She's
Yeah,
like,
she knew the game.
She's
yeah.
like, you're the villain. I'm like, why would I be the villain?
Yeah.
She's like, you're white, you're successful, and you're a male, and you're loud. You are done.
Yeah.
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 She
Oh,
knew
so-
it was coming.
So I would beat you on the show.
Well, certain
Well-
things happen on the show where they favored certain storylines.
Yeah.
And that's where, to go back to your question of like what happened.
That's what I mean. It's plotted, right?
I very
Depends
much
on-
just
yeah.
said if the rules were broken, a
Yeah.
guy cheated, and instead of punishing them, they made him the hero and they threw it on me. And I just said, I'm not going to give you this TV moment that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Where
I'll
you're
walk
getting
off the show.
angry and
Yeah,
stuff.
I'll
Yeah.
walk off the show.
Oh, that's why they hated you. Oh, so you didn't give them what they wanted.
Correct.
So
Oh,
wait,
wow.
so you said something. Who cheated?
So
You said you cheated or he cheated?
no, he cheated. He
Oh,
cheated.
he cheated.
So he had a
And
letter
cheating is
snuck
bad,
in
right?
from the outside world.
Okay.
And he used the letter to, like, he's crying to me. He's like, can you just let me win one competition? I just want to go home.
Yeah.
I just want to go home. And at this time, I'm running the house.
Yeah.
I'm running the house for 4 weeks.
Dirty.
So I'm like, bro, you want to win one? I got you.
Yeah.
Some things happen. I win a competition. He comes, he's yelling at me. I'm like, that's my bad. I didn't realize you wanted it right now to go.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Yo, that's
So the next week, Ty
Yeah.
and I are both in this competition. So he goes to Ty, he shows him the same letter. He's like, yo, let me win. I just want to go home.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, man. So Ty comes to me. He's like, yo, let this guy win. I'm like, okay, cool. So we let him win. He's crying, yelling, I love my girlfriend. Like, it was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen on national television. And I'm like, and we're laughing. We're like, yeah, you know what, man? Good for him. He wants to have his moment. He wants to go home. All good.
Yeah.
Then he goes like, yo, so I'm not actually going to go home.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Sure you did.
And
So you
that-
just played you guys basically.
yeah, but you're only able to play us because we're in a house. Like,
Yeah.
the intensity
And
is
the
so
mind,
yeah.
you're the only thing this person had that could have tricked us was something from outside. Otherwise, we didn't believe anything. It's like, yo, you're cheating. You don't care to be here.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let him win and he'll go.
Yeah.
So then and then instead of punishing him, so like the game finds out what's going on because me and Ty are talking about it. I'm like, yo, the guy's cheating, whatever. So they call me into the diary room, which is where you talk. And I'm like, don't rat. Like I'm not the type of person to go tattle on somebody. So I'm like, no.
Is that recorded? Is that room recorded?
Yeah.
Or no,
So you can see the clip. They asked me. I'm like,
okay.
no, I'm not telling you. Like
Okay,
I'm not going to tell you. But they're like, Zach, if you don't tell us,
we're gonna
then-
kick you out.
So I'm like, all right, well, he's, this is what happened. He's cheating because it's already recorded. Like they
it's
know.
not like they don't know.
Correct.
Yeah, they just want somebody to rat.
So
Just
now
want the drama of
they
it.
want
Yeah.
me to rat. I wasn't even it was Ty who brought it up.
Oh,
It wasn't
damn.
even me. So I'm like, it's all happening. I'm like, okay, this is getting. So then they call him in. He goes out and he starts crying, and now everyone's hugging him and whatever. So instead of punishing, the rule says if you have something from the outside, you're gone.
Yeah, you're done.
Instead of kicking him out, they give everyone a letter from home. So now everyone's like screaming and hugging
my
and
God.
crying together, the whole thing.
And
And
you-
I'm sitting there,
you
and they
didn't get
now
shit.
Hey, I got one, but it's like I don't want my letter. Like, what do you mean? The guy's cheating.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're cheating. Like I'm the one. And so I go into I'm like, you guys made him the hero. Everyone loves him now, and
Yeah.
I'm the bad.
the villain.
Like I'm already the bad
But
guy.
you didn't rat.
No.
But okay, so the Woodbridge crew is asking, do you think the note actually gave Hope
Well, I just described it. So yeah.
an advantage or was just a gameplay? So I'm surprised that you actually answered the same question that they wanted to know. Here you go, Woodbridge. Let's go.
There
So
it
you
is.
got-
So basically, what I was gonna ask, and I guess has pretty much come out, is that what happens in that house and what's aired on the show are almost two completely different things.
Yeah.
It's all editing,
my
just like our podcast.
No,
Yeah.
our podcast is not. No,
Yeah.
yo, we are real.
It's funny.
Whatever we
no,
record,
you
okay,
watch the
Omar,
podcast. You
yeah.
watch the podcast. You think Omar can get a sentence out in
Oh
30,
my
like
God.
5 seconds. It's not true.
No, it's not. It takes
not
like
true.
35 minutes.
at least.
Yeah.
The whole show, bro.
It's so. Before you go on, your character's predetermined.
Yeah, he's not
Yeah.
gonna be on.
Yeah.
They know
I
who
would
you're
never.
going to be. They know how they're
My
going to
wife
play.
wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't go on married. It's hard enough in a relationship
Yeah, I can
married.
only
Like, and
imagine.
I was good. I would behave
Yeah.
myself. But
Sure you do.
no, I did. I love it.
No, it's tough, man. Holy shit.
Well, you're locked in a house.
I feel like I wouldn't even want to do it. You
Is
know
it-
what I
what-
mean?
what's the prize?
Would you go on again?
So it's a great question. The way I answer that question is the best experience because it's so unique. Less than 200 people have done it.
Okay.
Okay. I go to the gym. It's still like 2 days ago, I'm at the gym and a guy's staring at me and like, I think he's big leaguing me, right? 'Cause I'm looking good. I'm flipping the tire. Like, yo, you want to flip the tire again?
Yeah.
He's just like, hey man, like I watched you on the show. Like I really appreciate and respect the way you did or what you did. Like I
you
don't
work at a
agree with what
mechanic shop or
happened.
something. You flipped the what's
That
that?
actually happened to me on Saturday when I went for breakfast. I was walking to Broadway's and some guy stopped me. He's like, I know you. I'm like, where
Isn't
do I
that a
know this
good
guy
feeling,
from?
though?
It's actually a great feeling.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
when
like,
you're on your
podcast, aren't
100%.
you?
And there's
I'm like,
nothing
yeah,
wrong-
I'm on the podcast.
and like embrace it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like
Enjoy it.
Like
Yeah.
you're the one putting yourself out there. So
Yeah.
yeah, if somebody notices you, it's like great, awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I
Yeah,
respect
100%.
that. So yeah, I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what it is. So like those people, like there's enough people that come up to me and are like, man, we understand why you did like we can empathize with the
With you, yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
So I'm good with it. Like, and again, it goes back to what I was saying. Like, if I was 20 years old, I wouldn't have been able to do
This is nuts. So,
Would've been
but
different.
have you noticed the parallel? You were the evil villain at Unreserved and the evil villain on Big Brother.
All I have to say, you're just like,
Why is he trying to position you like that?
You
bro?
know,
That's
that,
crazy.
it's actually fair. And,
I
and
love it. No, because one, you're disrupting the industry, and the other one, you're like a general mastermind.
so
of
the
house.
next phase of Zach, the next era,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
you know, I
my
very
hero,
much have
kind of.
found something that I think like real estate. I really enjoy real estate. I enjoy the business of real estate. I love transactions. I love investing. Like I have different projects going on. And I'm very excited because I'm going to stay in the real estate industry and I want to
Nice.
stay in the real estate industry, but I'm going to be aligned with a brokerage that I believe is more suited to who I am and I think is aligned with my values.
Soon to be lawful.
No,
I'll say a line or
listen,
two
it
years.
was-
Is he joining the team?
We'll let him try another brokerage out, and then when he's seasoned enough, he could come and join
You
the
know,
big leagues.
there was a lot of
once he sees the
conversations
high
around it.
producer, then
Then he can join us. Yeah, we don't hire.
I'm thinking just based on a holiday party, he was going to join us. Man.
Oh yeah.
Saw this guy ready to pay. I'm like, no, bro, put that credit card away. We got you.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
that's
I didn't
cute.
realize it was open bar. Like it
Man,
was
we got you.
fantastic.
Lawful
Yeah.
Realty. you
Yeah, it
know,
was really
we,
good. I mean,
Open bar
appreciate
thanks
it.
to Maz.
Well, yeah. Well, you can
Maz,
afford
yeah.
open bar when you only have finger foods. But yeah, so
I
They're pretty fucking good finger foods.
I
They
ate
were good.
I ate about 45 chicken
Yeah.
fingers. I was like, yo, just keep those things coming up. What? Oh, they were so good.
Sliders.
The sliders were
the
amazing.
slider.
Yeah.
I doubled up a slider and
Did
was
you?
like,
I must have ate 50.
Yo, that
man.
charcuterie, there was 3 tables of charcuterie, and I didn't even have one.
Right. What about the charcuterie board? Did you have any of that?
I speak Francais.
Antipasta. Antipasta, whatever they call it in Italian.
Yeah, I don't even know.
They don't call it charcuterie.
man.
Yeah, you don't speak the Francais.
Charcuterie.
Well, Zach, we really appreciate you coming on the show. I really, really appreciate
Next,
it.
we have Ty.
Our next episode,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a reunion.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah, that would be
Oh,
dope.
that'd be
Imagine that we had them like, surprise, it's coming in now. And he's like, no,
We wouldn't have to be here
love
before.
her.
You know what's funny with a guy like Ty, and I mean this. He went on a podcast like right after the show, and they surprised him with somebody.
Oh, wow.
And you don't understand. Like the guy grew up in a tough. He's like, man, where I'm from, you don't just bring a guy out of nowhere
Yeah.
to surprise you.
Yeah.
Like that's not how we
Man's
roll.
gonna get snuffed.
Oh, so
Right,
yeah.
right? And I was like, I'm like thinking, I'm like, oh man, this guy is like not
You
joking
would have been
around.
fine if we surprised you with somebody.
I wouldn't have cared, but I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
grew up in Alexandria, Ontario,
Did you?
with you down the street.
I saw your Wikipedia. It said celebrity in Ottawa. So I was like, is that what he meant? Yeah, he worked at Domtar in Cornwall. So that's nice. What? Yeah, it's a paper.
Yeah.
Not all of us
anyways.
could work at McDonald's like you.
Yeah.
I was employee of the
Oh,
month.
not
Did
this
you guys
story.
remember
again.
that?
Not this
Oh,
story.
I can
again.
imagine
Cut
him with the
tape.
visor,
Cut
the
tape
McDonald's
over.
visor.
If you're an employee of the month, please put it in the comments. Yeah, that's what it's like. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, guys. Always
Likewise.
a pleasure to discuss with you.
What episode was this again?
Number 11.
Bam.
And he was kicked out.
Crazy.
Number.
Season 11, episode 11. Now he's here.
Can we
episode
fact check
Wild.
that? Can
His
we,
book
can we
number
fact check
11?
that? I'm not.
11. Yeah.
Which book 11?
The book he's gonna be coming out with.
Yeah, number
Yes.
11.
Yeah.
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 You
Lucky
should call
number
him.
11.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it lucky you got kicked out.
Unlucky number 11.
Well, thank you very much. Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
again for joining our episode number 11 of Brokeassmillionaires.
Bam.
Bam, bam, bam. You got to say it.
Bam.
Bam. There we go. Thank you. We'll join in to next time. I'm going to keep it a surprise because we actually don't know what the guest is. So it'll be a surprise for us too. Thank you again.